Hello, friends, and welcome back to Ghouls Night In, the spooky chat show with your best ghoul friends. I'm Penny Snark.
And I'm Midge Munster. And in just keeping with what we're doing right now on this podcast, apparently, I was laughing because last week Penny started the episode by saying, I'm bringing you something I was obsessed with when I was in elementary school or middle school. And I was like, boy, howdy, wait till we record this next one.
Same bestie.
Same bestie. So today, we're going to let our minds start to journey to a strange new world and leave all thoughts of the life we knew before. We are talking about my childhood obsession, Phantom of the Opera.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh my gosh.
Were you even like queer theater kid if you didn't have a deep obsession with Phantom of the Opera? Long before though, I guess I should say, what was your first exposure, Penny, to Phantom? Do you remember?
Oh gosh. I think I had an original. I was aware of it, but like I remember like seeing like in some like glossy theater book like photos from like
nice
an original production and just being like, well, this is intriguing.
Well, I hate to say that even as a theater nerd, my first exposure to this was the film adaptation.
Yeah. I mean, that was definitely what really like kicked it into high gear.
Maximum overdrive.
Yes.
But long before the 2004 film permanently altered my 11-year-old brain chemistry, the Phantom has had a long, long history and has terrified and entranced audiences for generations.
It's true.
And so I wanted to talk a bit about the history of not just the musical, but the story, the character, Phantom. And I learned a lot prepping for this episode. It was really fun. Weirdly, the Phantom Broadway website has a fantastic timeline that you can journey through. But yeah, read a lot of different things for this. We're going to touch on several iterations of our ghostly friend today. But starting with the publication of Gaston Leroux's novel, Le Fantôme de l'Opéra. I did not know this. The novel was actually originally published as a series in a French daily newspaper.
They did love their like serialized fiction back in the day.
They surely do. Yes. And this started in September of 1909 and went through January 8th of 1910. So it was a pretty long-running serialization. And then once that wrapped up, the novel was published in late March of the same year, 1910. And Leroux was like an interesting person. He had failed at several careers and ended up as a reporter, kind of a mix of a crime reporter, but also did art critic.
Like, sure.
Yeah, it was an interesting thing happening with him. And he had a real obsession with Edgar Allan Poe and with my brain just died, Arthur Conan Doyle. I almost said Sherlock Holmes as the author.
Yeah.
But he had written a couple books prior to this that were actually quite popular, and Phantom was not the most popular of his work by far. But I think what kind of is an interesting thing that let this story really take root, and also maybe why the people of France weren't super keen on it originally, is because as a reporter, a lot of his inspiration for this story came from actual news stories surrounding the Paris Opera House. For example, this was a cool fact I did not know. The Phantom's lake under the opera, that's real. There's a cistern under the Palais Garnier. And it's really cool. If you look at photos online, it has like those arched kind of tunnel ways, and I mean it looks exactly how you would think it would look. But they had this kind of semi-deep water cistern under the Paris Opera House, mostly for like if there was a fire.
Yeah.
But I guess they also use it to train firefighters to swim in the dark.
Oh, all right.
Right. And I was like, okay, cool.
Sure.
But he, of course, used that as inspiration for the Phantom's Lair, and it's a
Yes.
very cool visual. Also, another story that inspired him, and probably the most famous example, is that during the first act of a performance in 1896, what they believe happened is that a fire on the roof melted a wire, like a steel cable, and caused the counterweight of the massive opera house chandelier to fall and killed one person and injured several others. So the actual chandelier didn't fall. The counterweight fell through the ceiling. But chandelier makes it much more interesting.
Yes, much more dramatic.
But this and other instances caused there to be a lot of speculation and rumors of ghosts in the opera house,
yes.
like any good theater,
Of
right?
course.
And then finally, one of the other stories that inspired Leroux was an urban legend, which I could not find much more about this, but I'm morbidly curious. There was a legend that a former ballet student's skeleton was used in an 1841 production at the Opera House. Couldn't find anything about why that rumor started.
Yeah.
But between all these strange happenings and macabre rumors, and like I said, his love of Edgar Allan Poe and the spookies, this made for a perfect storm for him to write this great Gothic horror novel. So we end up with the source material through all this. Fast forward to 1925. When the Phantom gets his first film treatment and enters the ranks of the Universal Monsters. That's right.
It's true.
He is a Universal Monster, and people will say that him and the Hunchback are not. And they're liars, because they are not always regarded as part of the canon because they're silent films. But they both predate 1931's Dracula and are some of the first monster films that Universal made. So
there.
That's what I have to say to haters. They're history.
Yes.
And of course, both those aforementioned roles, Hunchback and Phantom, were both played by the great Lon Chaney.
Hey, it's Lon Chaney.
It's Lon Chaney time. If you are not familiar, he was a very famous horror actor known as the Man of 1,000 Faces. And
all those faces were very spooky.
And they were all very creepy.
All spooky.
And Chaney self-devised the makeup for Phantom.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, very cool. And a lot of it was just done with makeup, like not obviously with makeup, but like it's not like he was wearing a mask.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
It was done with makeup and light and shadow, and even from a 2025 lens, it is still massively impressive. If you look at photos of him in this film, he's spooky.
Yeah, he's really
very
scary.
spooky.
That was one of I remember being like very afraid of like that Phantom of the Opera as a kid.
One of the only really like fearsome interpretations of this character, honestly. And I read in, I don't remember which article this was, but they were able to like keep his look a complete studio secret until the release of the film.
Nice, yeah.
And so it was very like boom, jarring to audiences. And while also like I said, he's one of the most scary phantoms we've seen. his presentation of the character and the plot of the film are still regarded as one of the most faithful adaptations to the actual novel. But there are some changes, mainly being in the form of the ending, which was changed due to poor audience response at a preview screening in LA in 1925. So that preview happened in January. You'll recall that I said this film came out in 1925. So that happens in January. In the novel and in the original film, the ending is that, and much like later adaptations, the Phantom dies of heartbreak from, Christine shows him kindness. Specifically, she kisses him on the forehead, and he is so, overcome by her purity and his own ugliness and evil that it just breaks him, and he dies, and she gets away. But audiences hated this because it was 1925 and we needed really clear moral standings in films. And they did not like that he kind of got a redemption in the end for letting Christine go. So the studio rushes back to filmmaking and putting together a new ending. And so in this film, the Phantom is chased through the streets of Paris and is beaten to death and thrown into the Seine River.
Great.
Not as poetic and gothic and beautiful of an ending. People don't... What do y'all know about gothic horror?
Right. Nothing.
You don't know. You don't know that he was supposed to be destroyed by purity. God. But with that in place, the film was released on September 6th, 1925, premiering at the Astor Theater in New York. And
so it's its 100th anniversary.
Yeah. Welcome, Phantom. I did that on purpose.
Welcome back. Welcome back, Phantom.
Welcome back.
Lon Chaney Phantom.
Nosferatu. You'd love Robert Eggers. But yeah, that film was overall, after that change, well received. But we don't see a ton of Phantom for a while after that, until 1976, when we get a musical adaptation with book and lyrics by English playwright Ken Hill. And that opened in Lancaster, England, and was decently successful. Eventually got a West End run. And this was just a little tidbit for me. It premiered in America, in the United States, in 1987 at the Repertory Theater of St. Louis.
Hey!
Oh, not quite my neck of the woods, but I play St. Louis too.
Yeah.
I'm there enough. My phone thinks I live in St. Louis because I'm always out there with Devin and Andrew. But, as you all probably know, Ken Hill isn't the name we associate with Phantom of the Opera. Many of you probably said, who the heck is that? And that's a great question. If you're not a musical theater nerd, Ken Hill was associated with this other important gentleman we're about to talk about for another project by the title of Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. So he is he's a deal in the world of musical theater, but the person we associate with Phantom is, of course, one Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Indeed.
And let's get into the tea. Would y'all like some...
I'm going to say, you want tea, Phantom of the Opera musical has some tea.
Would y'all like a little bit of tea? Listen, much like we adore the works of many, like Arthur Conan Doyle and people, we also know they're kind of shitty. And Andrew maybe falls a little bit in this category as well. So Andrew Lloyd Webber saw Hill's production of Phantom in 1984 and was like, damn, this is good. It's getting really good reviews. I should talk to him about collaborating again. So he does. They have a conversation about putting together a more grand version of this show to develop into a West End production. Weber is talking about, you know, producing it, like putting forth production costs. They're in conversations for like close to a year about this. And then Andrew Lloyd Webber is like, you know what? Never mind. I was just kidding. And then he disappears. And then lo and behold, 2 years later,
What?
suddenly Andrew Lloyd Webber is producing his own version of Phantom that is opening on the West End in 1986.
Hey.
Sucks to be Ken, dude.
Yep.
I truly can't tell you if this is like brilliance or horrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does suck, especially since they were, I mean, it sucks regardless, but also because they were collaborators. I'm sure Ken Hill just was like, what the hell,
What the
dude?
fuck? Come on, Andrew.
Yeah, and not only does it suck for that reason, but it also sucks because, boy howdy, Andrew Lloyd Webber's Phantom of the Opera becomes a massive hit.
Oh, yeah.
This is not only the second longest running musical in the West End after Les Mis, but holds the record for the longest running musical on American Broadway with a total of 13,981 performances.
That's a lot of Phantom.
It is a whole lot of Phantom. And it did finally close in, I believe it was 2023 was when they finally, like, broke the consecutive run of Phantom. But, man, this is me going off script, but have you gotten to see a live performance of Phantom, like a Broadway tour or anything?
I have. I did see a Broadway tour. It wasn't as good as I hoped.
Oh, that breaks my heart.
Not like just like I didn't love the cast. The production was very impressive.
Yeah,
but I was a little disappointed. But so I would love to go again sometime.
This was the first Broadway show I ever saw.
Oh.
And I saw it was on tour. It wasn't in New York, so I guess I mean, you know, not on Broadway, but it was the Broadway production tour. My family drove to Des Moines to see this took me to see it when I was still pretty little. And my dad had to basically like airlift me out of the theater.
I bet. Oh my God.
An emotional reaction to it and was just weeping the whole time. I've never, even still to this day, I don't think I've been affected by a piece of art the way I was the first time I saw Phantom live. And I did see it once on Broadway, maybe years later. I was a teenager, and that one was not as good, I will say.
Yeah.
But that touring cast, man, that would have been like, I don't know, probably like 2007, 2008. Shout out to y'all. That was
Shout out.
it was a freaking incredible production. But anywho, this, I mean, it kind of speaks for itself. This musical has won 7 Tony Awards, 2 Laurence Olivier Awards, 7 Drama Desk Awards. The original cast recording went number 1, which is kind of like insane for a Broadway recording. The show has been performed in over 200 cities in 21 languages. And it continues to be adapted and growing and finding new audiences still all the time. But as we mentioned at the top of this episode, one of the most predominant ways it reached a whole new demographic was when it released as a 2004 film adaptation.
Yes, it did.
Specifically a film adaptation of Andrew Lloyd Webber's Phantom. So we have, at least that I'm aware of, there are at least 7 film adaptations of Phantom. Of the Phantom of the Opera.
Yes.
One of which I remembered while I was writing this episode. I was like, oh my God, there is a Phantom of the Opera that stars Robert Englund as the Phantom that was made in the 80s.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, there's a lot of fun, kooky versions of Phantom out there. But this one is the musical movie adaptation, and this was my gateway drug. 2004, yeah, so I was in fourth grade. Let me preface by saying, as is the case with most things that Midge loves, I understand that at its core, this film is not very good.
Yeah.
But I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Costumes, sets, stunning.
Stunning.
Emmy Rossum, beautiful.
Fabulous.
Extremely challenging Broadway score sung by film actors such as Minnie Driver and not trained Broadway professionals. Astonishing. Why do we have Gerard Butler, who had absolutely zero singing experience prior to this role, playing arguably the most famous male vocal lead of all time? Couldn't tell you, but I'm locked in.
The vibes are excellent.
Immaculate.
And I definitely, so I was a freshman or a sophomore in high school when I saw this. So of course I went with like all of my my drama club friends, and we were living for it.
Yeah, this is definitely like, which is funny because I actually did not like this movie growing up, but this is like definitely made for the Moulin Rouge girls. It's definitely made for the like, and it's the OG. Like, if I had to look back and be like, what made you a monster girl? It's this movie for me. Like, I feel like for you, it's probably like Buffy. But
probably.
For me, it's this. Like, I was like, yeah, why would she not pick Phantom?
Right? See, okay, that was when you were like, oh yeah, well, the 1920s audience didn't like the end. I was like, yeah, me neither. Because she belongs with the Phantom.
Because the correct answer is, you stay with Erik, you bitch.
Obviously. So
what Patrick Wilson give you that Gerard can't?
Right? I'm like, so what if he spied on you and messed with your mind and tried to kill your fiance?
Yeah.
We can get past this.
So what if he pretended to be your dead father? That's chill.
That's sometimes
called
these things happen.
Persistence. I'm sure most people know this, but like in the context of the original like script, this man is like 40 and she's like 16.
Oh yeah.
It's awful.
Yes.
Like, it's positively horrible, but I love it so much.
I love it.
But I love it. And I do have to just, as a fun, like, my worlds colliding Midge anecdote, I do have to say, because I'm like, why do we have Gerard Butler? Couldn't tell you. But actually, I could tell you. And it's because this was supposed to be Hugh Jackman.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Which
that
makes
honestly, so much more sense.
I'm happy it wasn't, though.
Yeah.
I don't think I would like it as much, weirdly. I love Hugh Jackman, but I'm just like, he's Hugh Jackman.
This is true. I will say, okay, so my thing, and maybe I might be stepping on your toes here.
No, please.
So I will say that I do prefer a slightly more rock and roll Phantom than like the very like the traditional like cast recordings are more on the kind of like opera training kind of side, which
let me tell you, there's nothing that makes me more irritated than the sound of Michael Crawford's voice.
I know, that's why I'm like, I'm sorry, Michael Crawford.
And I know he's like, you're so the OG beloved
and so beloved, but
I can't with him.
He is not the Phantom for me. So I was like, I appreciated like a little bit of like the rough and tumble kind of vibe with Gerard Butler, but there is and I don't know if you're going to talk about other filmed productions.
I actually had not planned to, Phantom. So if you would like to go in, I would love that.
I was going to say that my preferred Phantom and Phantom cast is the 25th anniversary Royal Albert Hall production.
The Royal Albert Hall.
With Sierra Boggess and Ramin Karimloo. And I really, because like, I'm like, he has the combination of like having that like rock and roll edge, but also being able to sing. So
yes,
I was like, that is kind of my vibe. So if anyone hasn't seen that, it's a stage concert, they call it, but it's like there's costumes and stuff. It's basically a full production, just like without as like elaborate of sets. So Highly recommend
Yeah.
that. The
You
first time that I
also,
saw that, I watched it twice in a row immediately after because I loved it so much.
yeah, I mean, you also, like, just as a rule, I'm like, you can't beat Ramin Karimloo at anything.
No, no. Yeah, so that one is definitely a recommendation from me, and that is the version that I have downloaded on my phone, so I can listen to it
Yeah,
whenever I want.
I would agree that of the like vocal recordings, that's the tops probably.
Yeah, so like if you're looking to be like, I just want to watch or listen to the Phantom at home, that's a good one.
I do. Oh, this was my bit of Midge lore though that I wanted
Yes,
to
yes.
just real quick. It has nothing to do with this, but there is a reason that Hugh Jackman could not play the Phantom, and it's because he was otherwise spoken for on another making of a cinematic masterpiece. Based on the year like 2003, 2004, do you have any idea what his scheduling conflict would have been with this
Shoot,
film?
would is that the time of X-Men? Is he being Wolverine?
He is not. I mean, he could have been doing that as
Yeah.
well. But his source, like what he says is why he couldn't do Phantom is because he was making Van Helsing.
Oh my god. Of course. I should
Which,
have
like,
known.
listen, Van Helsing is in my top 5 comfort movies.
I'm gonna say don't talk about Van Helsing now because Van Helsing needs its own episode.
Oh no, I won't. But
Because I
like,
also was a Van Helsing girly.
well, yeah, we're both
Yes.
bi people from the early 2000s. Like, that's yeah. Have you seen Van Helsing? But what made me giggle about this, as much as I love that movie, and I think it has a really specific place in the like cultural zeitgeist for people our age. Mm-hmm. What a freaking bummer for Hugh Jackman.
I know, right?
That you could have been the Phantom of the freaking Opera and you made Van Helsing instead.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Definitely.
So that was new information to me. I did
I
not
love
know that he had
that.
been offered that role. Again, very very thrilled that it wasn't him in the long run. Because Gerard does have a certain stank on him that I appreciate.
He does have a stank on him.
Anyway, all that to say, please go spend an evening with that movie also. Well, after you watch the Royal Albert Hall first. Or maybe don't. Maybe watch that
I would say
second.
maybe start with the
Maybe
2004.
start with 2004 and then go. But yeah, that it's a romp, and it really was so formative to me.
Yeah, it is a good time.
So mainly, how I kind of want to wrap this up is talking about why Phantom. Why has this, like, yeah, like Penny said, this is the 100th anniversary of the first film adaptation,
Yeah.
and it was around for a long time before that. So what is it about this story that keeps us coming back and retelling it and shaping it? You know, part of what made me want to do this episode, I freaking love Phantom, and I think he deserves more clout in the Universal like world. But also they've revamped it once again, and there's this wild immersive Phantom happening in New York right now that I would cut my leg off to see. I want to see it so bad. And people are eating it, like people are flying from all over the country to go watch this immersive Phantom. And so why? And I think when we look at this story, I mean, like every other monster movie, but it is these themes of, like, both, we look at movies that are coming out right now, like The Substance, or The Ugly Stepsister, like, both focusing on this prison of external beauty. What does it mean to be beautiful? But both, what does that mean externally and internally? And what does it mean to overcome that, to be pure, to be kind, and to like all the themes of the different kinds of love throughout it's a very romantic plot for what it is. It is so beautiful, and like, both Christine's love for her father and her love question mark for Rawl. And set against this backdrop, it's Parisian, it's romantic. I mean, it's just absolutely beautiful. And I think there is something just so timeless about the way this story pans out that is why I come back to it again and again. It feels so human, even though it's about, quote, a monster.
But he's also a human monster.
He's a person.
Which adds an additional layer of interest to it, I think. Like you said,
exactly.
Like with all of the themes you've been talking about, it is like, you know, a person who is treated as monstrous and who potentially becomes monstrous due to that treatment.
Yeah. And like like many of my favorite movies still today, it is about how a lot of times the people are the monsters, not the, quote, monster himself. And very, very topical still today. Hey, everybody go watch Phantom and take notes about how to treat human beings. Anywho, that's a little dive into my favorite spooky guy. I would love to know my other Phantom girls out there, not just girls by definition, but just if you are one of Erik's gang. Are you? This is the original Edward and Jacob,
right?
Also,
Erik
like,
Rawl.
Are you Team Edward or Team Edward? Are you Team Erik or Team Rawl? If you're Team Rawl, you're wrong. I'm so sorry. But yeah, let us know where you stand on this. When did it hit you? How did it impact you? And if you'd like to share those thoughts with us, the best place to do that is probably over on our Discord server.
Yeah.
We do a lot of chatting over there about episodes, and now getting into spooky season, we're also just having a lot of fun conversations about what's coming out, movies, foods, all kinds of things. So join us over there. You can find that information either in the show notes or on our Instagram link in our bio. And if you are enjoying the show, we would love it so much if you would leave us a rating or a review wherever you listen. And if you are able to leave us a review, we might just read it live here on the air. I believe Penny has an Apple review to share with us.
I sure do. This review comes from Melinda Witchykin, titled Weekly Dose of Wicked Whimsy. She says, every week I look forward to a new ep of Ghouls Night In. Penny and Midge are charming, witty, and stir up the most bewitching brew of spooky delight. Equal parts eerie and endearing. If you love fun frights, sassy spirits, and a good giggle in the dark, this podcast is definitely for you. Love always, Spiritual Knockers from Rochester.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. We love our spiritual knockers.
Melinda. We sure do. Well, thank you, Melinda, for your review. And if you would like to connect with us on other levels, you can find us over on Instagram at Ghouls Night In Pod. And if you are looking for me, you can find me all over the web at Midge Munster.
And you can find me at Penny Snark.
And until next time,
goodbye.